and welcome back to my channel. Jessica Morehouse here, and I've got some big updates to catch you up on, namely with my budget spreadsheets. If you've been a longtime subscriber, thank you so much, you probably already know the evolution of these spreadsheets. If not, I'm going to tell you right now. I created the first iteration, the first kind of version of my spreadsheet about 7 or 8 years ago, which is a long time ago. And at that time, it was just a super simple, very basic spreadsheet. But then I kept on getting users asking me, hey, can you put in more features? Hey, can you make a specific spreadsheet for people who are self-employed, people or couples who are self-employed or everything in between, which eventually led me to make 7 different budget spreadsheets for pretty much every kind of scenario. Well, the exciting news is I've made it so much easier to access all of these 7 different budget spreadsheets in what I'm now calling the Budget Spreadsheet Hub. And very exciting, most exciting, is I'm now offering budget review sessions to anyone who has downloaded my budget spreadsheets. Information is in the hub. Now, how this all came to be was I kept on hearing from people who were buying my budget spreadsheets over the past 6 or so months that they never received an email from me with a download link. And then I would check my records and say, oh yeah, no, it says you got it. It says the email was delivered. And then they would take a look. They're like, oh yeah, it was in my spam folder. And I got really annoyed at feeling like I was the IT department saying, check your spam. And so what I did is I decided to just move all of my budget spreadsheets to the same platform that I use for my Wealth Building Blueprint for Canadians Investing course, which is Thinkific. Now, if you buy one of my budget spreadsheets, you actually get all of them. So you get to choose which one is the right one for you, and you get lifetime access. And if your circumstances change, you get into a couple or you become self-employed, you can access the different version of the different spreadsheet at any point in time at no extra cost. They're all in there. You can use all of them, one of them, change them up. It's up to you. They're all right there for you. Not only that, I desperately needed to redo all of the video tutorials for every single spreadsheet because it had been several years and I'd made a bunch of updates. So a bunch of new updated video tutorials are in the hub, so you can check those out. Now, why you should care about this is I'm going to give you a special 15% off discount code for watching this video. Check the description. I've written it out there. I'm not going to put it in this video in case I decide to change the code one day and then have to redo the video. So check the description for the special code to get 15% off. Now, if you're curious what exactly these spreadsheets are, I'm going to now show you the full video tutorial for my kind of OG spreadsheet. This is kind of my most popular spreadsheet. It's for if you're an individual and you're an employee working for a company, or you're a couple, you're both employees, or maybe one of you is a stay-at-home parent, and you do combined, money management. So there's no hybrid budgeting. I've got one for couples like that. This is where everything's combined. But yeah, so that's it. Thank you so much. Let's get to budgeting. So the first tab you're going to want to go to is this budget tab right here. And this is where we're going to start putting in all of our numbers. So this is the spending plan, so to speak. This is where we're going to find out how much are we bringing in and how much money is going out so we can organize it in the most efficient way. So what you're going to do first is, and as you can see, I've kind of pre-filled everything just to make this go quicker, is you're going to write down what your job title is. You're going to select from this drop-down menu what your kind of job type is, and put in your income type as well from this drop-down menu. Now, for the spreadsheet and all the spreadsheets that I have available, you are only going to put data in the yellow cells. You don't have to put anything into these white cells. Those have formulas, so don't touch them. Just input data into the yellow cells here. Okay, so once you've put in your job information, then you're going to put in your yearly gross income. Now, as you can see from this little note, your gross income means your yearly income before taxes and other deductions are taken off your pay. So this is not the amount that you're actually bringing into your bank account. This is everything that you're earning, but not including any taxes or deductions. The really important number we need to know is your net income. So this is your yearly income after taxes and any other deductions are taken off your pay. Now, deductions are different for every person, but it could look like, health insurance premiums, RRSP, group contributions or pension contributions, things like that. So make sure to look at your pay stub for this information. So once you put that in there, then we're going to go down to this section where you put your savings goals. So I've pre-filled some ideas for savings goals, but there's a number of different savings goals you may have. So you can take a look at those here, and I'll show you how to change these or add new ones in a moment. But for example, I've got retirement, travel, emergency fund, gifts, like for example, Christmas, birthdays, things like that, and shopping. If you're like me and you don't shop that often, but maybe a few times a year, you do a little wardrobe update, you want to save that money in advance, that's where you can kind of put that into a savings account. Then you're going to note down what kind of account type are we putting this money into? Is it a registered account like an RRSP, or if you're American, a Roth IRA or whatever, or is it just a regular savings account? So put that information in here so you know exactly where everything is going. Just keep it nice and organized. Next, you are going to choose how much the percentage of your net income you are going to save. So instead of selecting a dollar amount, we want to allocate a percentage, because there's a lot of, best practices out there that say, oh, try to save X amount of your pay for this goal. So this kind of makes it a little bit easier for you to follow some of those rules if you wish to. So I've just put some percentages in here that make sense for me. So I'm going to leave those there. The next thing you're going to want to do is decide, is this a short-term savings goal or a long-term savings goal? Now, what I mean by that for this budget spreadsheet is, are you going to be dipping into this bank account, this savings account during the year to use to spend on, say, airline tickets or accommodations? Or, I'm going to take some money out of this account for gifts or shopping. Then we're going to say yes, that this is a short-term savings goal. So you're going to select yes or no from this drop-down. Now, if it's a long-term goal, such as, I'm not going to touch that money because it is for the future, such as retirement, then you're going to put no. I'll show you why this is important in a bit, so just bear with me. Next, we're going to get into the spending portion. So I divide spending into fixed expenses and variable expenses because it's much easier to organize this way. Fixed expenses are expenses that are fixed in how much you're going to be paying into them every single month, or maybe they're semi-monthly or bi-weekly, but they are a regular amount of money that you will owe. So for this example, let's say we have student loan payments, we have some music streaming services like Spotify and Apple Music, TV movie streaming such as, Netflix, maybe we have a gym membership, we pay rent, we have internet, and we, pay for a public transit pass. Now, all of these are options you can select, but again, there is a way that you can customize them if you like, and I'll show you that in a moment. Okay, next, you're going to decide what payment method you're using. Again, this is really easy for you to this is meant to keep everything organized. For example, your student loan payments are going to be taken out automatically from your checking account, and same with your rent. But maybe for everything else, you've got it on auto pay with your credit card. Next, you're going to input how much are you paying into all of these different expenses every single month. So note those down. And then you're going to go to variable expenses. So these are expenses. They could be, needs. They could be wants. It could be a mixture. However, sometimes the amounts you actually spend within these categories vary. Not everyone spends, $500 per month on groceries to the dollar every single month. But the idea is we want to allocate a specific amount for all these different variable expenses. In this example, dining out, groceries, takeout, personal care, which could be, miscellaneous, whatever you want. And the real number we're trying to stay within is $800. So even if you spend, $600 on groceries, but then maybe nothing on dining out, you're still going to hit that $800. So that's kind of the most important thing. But this is just to give you an idea of how much do you think you're going to spend in each category. But this isn't as important. Now, this area will show you, are you over or under your net income? Basically, it's just showing you, are you spending more than you're earning? We definitely don't want that. But the other really important one is, are we over or under our budget? Remember, we've allocated 69% of our net income for our fixed and variable expenses, which looks like about $3,047.50 we're spending on our fixed and variable expenses every single month. So are we on budget? Almost. Looks like we're actually spending $3.50 more per month than we should. So in that case, maybe I will just go 96.5 So there we go. Now you can see we are perfectly on budget. We're not over or under a budget. We are perfectly on budget. Now, again, if you're like, well, what if I want to have just like some buffer money that kind of accumulates in my checking account, which is pretty common, then you could always just, decrease this amount. And it looks like, okay, $6.50 will accumulate into my checking account every month. So we got a little buffer. And over the course of a year, that should turn into $78. But I know a lot of people like to budget to zero. But really, we just want to make sure that we are in the green, not the red. Now, before moving forward with some other tabs, some other things I want to show you, you may have noticed this section, options in addition to yearly and monthly. So right now, I'm showing you your budget breakdown by semi-monthly, bi-weekly, weekly. Now, this is really just to help people, hey, if you are earning a paycheck that pays you semi-monthly, then you're going to want to see that number. Or if you get paid bi-weekly, you're going to want to see that as well. Or weekly, you get the picture. But if you don't need to see all of that data, you can say, okay, well, I get paid bi-weekly. I don't care about semi-monthly or weekly. I want to get rid of that information. So we are going to click on that checkbox. You're going to see this thing that pops up. Just go, don't show this again for 5 minutes. And that pop-up is really just to make sure that you're not accidentally ruining a formula. It's just like, are you sure you want to do this? Just say yes. And same with weekly. And then you're going to go update tables and click on that button right there. Now, one thing I just want to point out if you're using the Google Sheets version is it may ask for authorization required. You just, if a pop-up shows that, just hit OK, and then it will likely require you to select your Google account that you're using and go, have a pop-up saying Budget Planner button wants access to your Google account. Just hit OK. This is just basically giving it authority to use some of the coding in the spreadsheet for it to work. Now, just so you know, doing this authorization does not give me any of your information for your spreadsheets. I don't see any of it. It's really just a way for Google to allow for these buttons and this coding to function. It'll look a little bit different in Excel. And if you're more comfortable using Excel than Google Sheets, then again, you can do that right away. Very similar to the Google Sheets. It's just you have to have Excel software on your computer. Also, if you're using any of the buttons on the spreadsheet and sometimes you get an error, or sometimes you pop into the spreadsheet and the buttons are not placed where they should be, this happens to me all the time. I don't know why it happens. Honestly, all you have to do is refresh your browser page and that should fix it, or just hit the button again and it should work. But if you encounter any issues, please let me know. And there you'll see now it just shows bi-weekly and monthly. Perfect. The other thing here is adjust number of jobs. So for example, if this is for a couple, or maybe you have 2 jobs, both partners and the couple have jobs. So you go adjust number of jobs. And let's say we're going to type in 2 jobs. So there's 2 jobs you want to include in this budget. And then it's going to include a new row for that other partner in the couple. Now, again, you can also use this if you're an individual and you have 2 jobs. A lot of people have, a part-time job on top of their full-time job. So you can also use that as well. And then you're going to do the same thing. Job title, let's say manager. And let's say this is a part-time job and hourly. And then we're going to put in yearly gross income. Let's say it's, $20,000. And let's say that ends up being $15,000 net. Now that information is all accounted for. And then, in this scenario, you'll probably want to go back to the drawing board and maybe change some of these percentages because we've got an excess of $869 in our budget. So you may want to maybe put more money into your savings goals. Okay, so now I'm going to jump to the Spending My Category tool because this is how you can customize some of those drop downs in that budget tab. So just going back here, remember the savings goal area and this drop down? If you want to customize, delete, or add, this is what you do. Go to Spending My Category. Let's say we just want to add some new things. Let's go add new row. There's the new row. And gosh, what should we say? Let's say we want to buy a bicycle. So you can make it very specific. Do whatever you want. There's no wrong answers here. And then if you are someone like me who likes to keep everything super organized and you want everything to be super alphabetical, though it's almost alphabetical, all you have to do is go sort table and it'll do it for you. There we go. It is top of the list here. And for those expenses, and just to show you what that looks like here's the drop downs for fixed and variable. They're the exact same drop down. Just go back to Spending My Category. do the exact same thing. And maybe you want an expense that's, pet food, something really specific like that. Go sort table, and let's find our pet food right here. Now, one thing I want to show you just before moving on is this area isn't just to put different categories. It also automatically populates anything that you put into this spending tab, which I'll get to in just a moment. So all of the amounts you put in, and why it's so important to categorize is because that data then gets pulled into here and remembers, oh, okay, you spent $50 on birthdays as a savings goal spending expense. We've put that in here for January. And for our fixed and variable expenses, we spent $13 in music streaming. And this is, again, we only have 1 month of data, so it's more interesting when you have a full year or a couple months. But it keeps track of every single item that you spend money on, every category that you categorize in here. So it gives you a total per month. But what's really cool too is it also gives you a total for the total year. So once you're done 12 months of the spreadsheet, it'll show you how much you've spent in each category by the end of the year. So that's pretty cool too. Okay, so now let's move on to our spending tab. So the first thing you're going to want to do once you've completed the budget tab is click on this button, Update Tables, and it will automatically bring in all of your different savings goals as well as your fixed and variable expense amounts that you put into your budget. And then we are going to go here and let's pretend it's January. And we've earned some money from our job, and let's say it's a salary job. And how much did we say that we were earning? Let's say monthly. Okay, we got this amount. I'm just going to copy that over. So we're bringing that amount in there. There we go. And what was the other amount from this part-time job here? Great. Copy that. I'll just say other for now. Okay, great. Now, if you want to also customize this drop down, what you're going to want to do is go to this income categories section. It's not as fancy as that spending by category tab. I'm so sorry, but you can change any of these. But if you want to add one, I would say just find some room here, right click, insert row above. And let's say you just want something kind of general like extra income or something. Do whatever you want. And again, just go yes and okay. And if you want to sort it alphabetically, just select all of the cells, right click, sort range. Data has a header row and A to Z, sort. And there we go. And then extra income right there. Okay, perfect. So yeah, every month you're going to pop in here and put in your income source, so from your jobs or whatever it is, and your net income that you are earning. So the money that is actually hitting your bank account. So that is after every kind of deduction or tax is taken off your pay. Because this is how we know exactly how much money is coming in. Then next, we're going to put in our spending. So let me go through fixed and variable spending first. I've put in some examples here. What you would do to make it real easy is go into your credit card accounts, your bank accounts, and download transactions to either a CSV or an Excel file or something like that, just so you can easily copy and paste. Or again, you could just look at your statements and type everything out. Whatever is the easiest thing that you want to do, it's totally up to you. And then you'd put in the date and then the description of what that expense is. And usually those statements have those descriptions. Then you would categorize everything. So, and I'll show you why this is important in a moment. So it could be like, your rent, your music streaming, public transit, all that kind of stuff. The payment method you use to make that purchase or pay that expense, and how much you spent on those things as well. And then it'll automatically total everything. If you want to add a new row, for example, you can do one of two things. You can go add one row, and it'll add one row. Or if you have a lot of expenses, like a lot of us do, you can go add 10 rows. And if you have a lot more, you can keep on clicking on it and it'll keep on adding 10 rows. And again, too, once you have everything in there and you're like, okay, this looks great, but it's all over the place. I want to organize it by date. So you just select all of the cells, right click, sort range. Data has a header row by date. That's when you want to sort it. And if you want to sort it by description, category, payment method, or amount, you can do that as well. A to Z, sort. And then it's nice and categorized. The other thing, if you are adding a lot of rows and doing some sorting, make sure that this is still grabbing all of the correct cells. Sometimes if you're doing a lot of things, it might accidentally grab these rows. And then you might be like, why is it saying so much money in the total? It doesn't, the math isn't mathing. So always make sure it is selecting all of the correct rows when it's totaling. Okay. And then do the exact same thing with your variable spending. And then for the savings goal spending, what this means is this is just a place to document when you are taking money out of a savings account, such as your gift savings account, and you're purchasing a gift for someone, such as, well, I went to so-and-so's birthday, I needed to get them a gift. It cost $50. Well, it's not a fixed or a variable expense because, again, I pre-saved that money and it's meant to be spent. So this is where you would put that. So for example, I travel a lot and we save up money in advance to go on our trips. So whenever we are buying flights or accommodations or, buying souvenirs on that trip, we will put them in here because we're taking money out of our travel fund. We're paying for those expenses on our credit card, but we are taking money out of our travel fund, putting it on our credit card so we can pay off that. And it is called savings goal spending. So that's how you can organize all of that. And then up here, it totals everything for you. So the income, the net income coming in that month, how much you spent in fixed spending, how much you spent on variable spending, how much you spent total fixed plus variable spending. And then are you over or under your income? It looks like you are under your income. That's good. And are you over or under your budget? This month, it looks like you are under by $6.36. Amazing. And for your savings goal spending, it will show you, okay, how much did you spend this month on savings goal spending? $50. And are you over or under your kind of savings amount? Because it took that number basically from here. So it says, in general, every month you should not be spending more than $906.67 from any of these short-term savings goals. Let's move on to the savings progress tab. Now, I'm going to be completely honest. I do not use this tab. I put in this tab for people based off requests. People wanted a specific way to track whenever they put money into a savings account or their RRSP or TFSA or whatever the case. For me, I honestly just keep track of that in my net worth. So I'll show that in a minute. But if you want to track the specifics, this is how you do it. And remember, you're going to have to track what you contributed to those savings or investment accounts, but also every time you take money out. Otherwise, things will just not balance out and you'll be confused why the amount, again, is not mathing. So to get things started, we're going to click on this button, Update Savings Tables. So it worked. And as you can see, it's automatically pulled in all the savings goals that we outlined in our budget and also the account type that we allocated. So these are all of our short-term savings goals. Remember, this is why it's also so important to label yes or no in the short-term savings area. And here's our retirement RRSP. This is our long-term savings goal. And then all you have to do is, let's say, we contributed $200 per month there and $100 here, $45 here, and then $100 here. And then, $400 here, and there you go. But let's say you also took out $50 from gifts. So you put in $100, but you also took out. We want to make sure that's accounted for. So again, we are really reflecting what exactly happened with our money. Okay, so next we're going to the net worth tab. This is honestly my favorite part of budgeting and this is actually the first thing I do every single month when I look at my numbers and document everything, is track my net worth, because this is where you see where you're at right now if you're just starting from scratch. But the exciting thing is month over month and then year over year, what your progress has been made. So up here, as you can see, and I have included in the Budget Spreadsheet Hub a document called your net worth cheat sheet to kind of better describe what is your net worth, how does that work. But basically, there's different asset types and liability types. So an asset means money or something of value. Liability is a fancy word for different types of debt. So money that you owe, that you have to pay back. And to get to your net worth number, we are accounting for all of the different assets we have, and then we're deducting any liabilities we have to find out what our net worth is. Okay, going back to our example month in January. So as you can see, I have noted down, I've got a checking account and a Coho account, which is basically a prepaid account. You load money onto it, and a bunch of savings accounts. I've got my RRSP. I've also got a baseball card collection that is valued at $5,000, and maybe I'll sell it next year for some money. I also have some credit card debt, but it's not too much, and then a student loan. So I put all of that information in there, and up here, this automatically calculates my total assets, my total liabilities, and assets minus liabilities equals my net worth, which is $9,250. Now, if you wanted to see something cool, let me just go down here and I'm going to add some more rows and we'll leave that there. I'm just going to kind of copy these over and change the amounts so you can see how you can track your progress over time. Okay, so let's say we've got a little bit more in our checking account. And oh, I didn't realize there was nothing in our RRSP. Well, let's say we started an RRSP and we put $1,000 in there. And maybe there's a little less in there. Maybe there's a little bit more in here. Okay, you get the idea. Let's say we were able to pay off a little bit of our credit card debt and a little bit of our student loan. So those numbers have changed. If we go up, we've got a new total for assets and liabilities, and our net worth has gone up by a few $1,000s. So the whole point of your net worth is that we're going to increase our assets and decrease our liabilities. So as long as you're putting more money into savings and your investments and you have, more valuable assets you could potentially sell and you're paying off your debt slowly but surely, you're going to see some progress. So you can go up here and you can see that progress. January, our net worth was just about $9,000, but we were able to increase it by $2,350 in just that month, which is an increase of 25.41%. It may not look like a lot in dollars, but increasing our net worth by 25% in just 1 month is pretty exciting. Now, you may also be wondering, what is this December previous year? If you're just starting a fresh budget, you can ignore it. But if you've been doing this for a little while or a whole year, and you want to just get an idea of where was I at in December of 2024, and then you could put all of your net worth numbers in here. And then by the end of the year, you would put in your net worth for December 2025. You put that in there, and then you'd be able to see December to December, what is the overall increase, hopefully, of your net worth. But otherwise, you can ignore this section. The last tab I want to show you, which again, totally up to you if you want to use or don't use. It doesn't really matter, but if you want some graphs to show what your income versus spending is, your net worth over time, your spending report and fixed variable and savings goals, all these kinds of things. Again, it'll be more interesting when you have more data than just January, but you can see all that information automatically compiled right here. So hopefully that's been helpful. But again, if you have any questions, let me know. If you've made it here, thank you so much for watching this entire video. If you have any questions, not only can you put them in the comments here, but there's multiple ways once you get into my budget spreadsheet hub to contact me, to ask me questions and get some support in that way. And again, too, if you are looking for someone to review your budget, to give you some concise guidelines, take a look at, hey, how we can optimize this or what you could be doing better, or hey, maybe just a pat on the back because you're doing an amazing job. Again, I am offering those services to anyone who has purchased my budget spreadsheet. All the information is in the budget spreadsheet hub. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.